60 Minutes Rewind.
Donald Sutherland has been called one of the greatest actors never to be nominated for an Oscar. He's appeared in more than 150 films and TV shows: MASH, Clute, Ordinary People, The Hunger Games, just to name a few. You may recognize his name, you've definitely seen his face, but you probably don't know much about Donald Sutherland, the man. At 82, he's still one of the hardest working actors around. He's still agonizing over each character he plays and still plagued by self-consciousness about how he looks. He's never forgotten what happened after his very first film audition more than 50 years ago, when the writer, director, and producer of the movie he tried out for called him on the phone.
The writer said, "You did such a terrific job." And the producer said, "We thought you were really wonderful. And we all wanted to call you together to explain to you why we weren't casting you." And they said, no. I mean, we have to, the reason why we're not casting you is because we've always thought of this fella as a kind of a guy next door sort of guy. And to be absolutely truthful, we don't think you look like you ever lived next door to anybody. I mean, but it's the story of my life, you know?
That's the story of your life?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Donald Sutherland may not look like the guy next door.
I'm an investigator. I'd like to ask you some questions.
But that hasn't stopped him from carving out one of the longest-lasting and most unconventional careers in the film business. He's played leading men.
I guess the whole of life's nothing but an accident, is it? What happens to you?
And all manner of misfits. He's turned up in Army field hospitals.
Scratch my nose. Just down here. There. A little harder, please.
English country estates.
I could not have parted with you, my Lizzie, to anyone less worthy.
And the toniest corners of Upper Manhattan.
Money!
This is the 75th year of the Hunger Games.
He's had a particular soft spot for bad guys.
Did your mother make these?
And over the years, he's played a lot of them.
Don't lie. You promised.
A lot of the roles you take on, though, are not always sympathetic.
They're not sympathetic to you, but they're sympathetic to me.
They are.
But yeah, sometimes they don't feel very good about what they've
Even if
done.
it's a pyromaniac in Backdraft? Your eyes light up like a pyromaniac right now.
Sorry, but I mean, he was so excited, you know?
Got the whole place going like hell. My hair was on fire, my hands, everything. I was dead.
To prepare for these roles, he spends months immersing himself in the script, poring over the parts as he conjures the characters to life.
You try to find something in the role that...
I don't find it, it finds me. I mean, I will read it, and suddenly it starts churning around inside me, and then it gets violent, and then it gets loving, and then it's an extraordinary thing. It gets more and more and more exciting. It's delicious. It's what it is. It is.
When we first met Sutherland, he was shooting a scene in Italy for an upcoming FX series called Trust about oil magnate J. Paul Getty. When he's filming, Sutherland says he needs more than anything else an intimate, creative relationship with his director. He describes his experience working with the legendary Italian director Federico Fellini as a love affair.
Why do you see it in romantic terms?
Because it is.
There's that intimacy.
Yeah. And sometimes it's rejected, and sometimes it's accepted and embraced.
And when the film is done, the affair is over?
It's gone.
Do you have a cigarette after?
No, but you have regret.
If there's a slight sadness about Sutherland, it may be because his childhood in Canada wasn't easy. He survived polio as a toddler and spent all of 4th grade at home with rheumatic fever. He was an awkward kid, tall, with big ears. At school, they called him Dumbo. When he was 16, he had a question for his mother.
And I went to her and I said, "Mother, am I good looking?" And my mother looked at me and went, "Your face has character, Donald." And I went and hid in my room for at least a day.
Did what she say stayed with you?
Not really, just for 65, 66 years. It's not easy, Anderson. It's not easy to know that you're an ugly man in a business like I'm in.
Do you think of yourself as an ugly man?
Unattractive, is a gentler way of putting it.
His insecurities didn't stop him from acting in plays in college. In the early 1960s, he started picking up work in television and B-movies, like Castle of the Living Dead. He'd be forgiven if you've never heard of it. That's Sutherland playing the part of a soldier and a witch in the same scene.
You all right?
The early years were a struggle. Sutherland had twins, including his son Kiefer, then 3 more children with his wife of 45 years, the actress Francine Rosset. His big break came in The Dirty Dozen, and it happened entirely by chance. Sutherland only had a bit part until one of the lead actors told the film's director, Bob Aldridge, he didn't want to appear in this scene.
And Bob Aldridge looked at him like that. Then he went, "You with the big ears, you do it." I don't think he knew my name, but it changed my life.
Where are you from, son?
Madison City, Missouri, sir.
Never heard of it.
Hollywood producers saw star power in that brief role. He was offered a lead in MASH, then played a hippie tank commander in Kelly's Heroes, earning a place in Hollywood as an oddball icon of the early 70s counterculture.
There you go, more negative waves. Have a little faith, baby.
As his career took off, something happened that Sutherland still doesn't quite believe. The guy who grew up thinking he was ugly became a sex symbol.
Now tell me about Frank Legurin.
In 1971, he played the enigmatic private detective in the hit Clute,
When did you break up?
alongside his then-girlfriend Jane Fonda.
Would you mind not doing that?
Fonda won an Oscar for her performance. Sutherland wasn't nominated.
Okay.
We were surprised to learn Sutherland's never watched Clute all the way through. And he says he rarely sees any of the movies he stars in. His main interest, he says, is his performance. How the film ends up being put together is out of his hands.
One of the nice things about the job I'm doing is I have a fair amount of control over the finished product.
You do?
Yeah, and that's not something as an actor you have much control over.
Excuse me, you used the wrong word. You used the word much. The operative word is any.
You have no control over it.
None. None except in performance.
That may be a polite way of saying, if the film is a clunker, don't blame Sutherland.
One critic about a television show you were in said, the question is not just what a class actor like Sutherland is doing in trash like this, but whether Sutherland is actually in a different show entirely.
What was the show?
Dirty Sexy Money.
Oh, excuse me. That's not trash. That was a really, really good show. Oh, I'm offended.
It's such an extravagant accusation to make.
Is that something you ended up watching?
Huh?
Did you watch it?
I know. But
What do you mean, you didn't see it?
no,
So how do you know it was good?
because I was in it. I don't mean it was good because I was in it.
Right.
I mean, because doing it, you knew it was good, and you knew from the response of people on the street.
We were speaking with Sutherland at his lakeside estate in southern Quebec, where he steals time between film shoots. In an old pump house by the water,
I have vertigo, and I'm climbing that goddamn thing.
we set up a makeshift screening room to watch some of his most iconic performances. It quickly became clear to us that decades after he's finished a film, the character he's created stays with him. In this scene from the 1973 thriller Don't Look Now, his character discovers his daughter's body in a pond.
This is going to be a hard day for me.
So even now, the character comes back to you. The character's still there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. I never thought of that. They must all have their little niche somewhere in my person or in my soul or something. Yeah.
Sutherland insists he's never given much thought to the trajectory of his own career. or viewed it as a climb to stardom.
A lot of actors, they want to take on roles where they're...
Because they're vertically organized.
What does that mean?
It's actors who say, okay, I've done this as a correct character to play, to do this, to do this.
To kind of have a career ladder.
Yeah.
I've done a dramatic role, now I'm going to do a comedic role, and this or a romantic lead.
Yeah, and mine is like a great big wooden platter of fruit and pasta and chicken salad and the soup and a banana, you know. It's a whole bunch of different things. You might not like everything on the thing, but you can go and grab something and peel it and eat it and like it.
That may explain in part why Sutherland has never gotten an Oscar nomination. That and his style of acting, which is subtle and restrained, never showy. The 1980 film Ordinary People won Best Picture, Best Director, and an Oscar for the screenplay.
Because I don't know if I love you anymore. And I don't know what I'm going to do without that.
Come on, give me the camera.
Dad, give her the camera.
I want a really good picture of the two of you, okay?
Mary Tyler Moore was nominated for an Oscar for her role in Ordinary People.
Until I get a picture of it.
Timothy Hutton won one.
Give her the goddamn camera!
Sutherland was ignored.
The story will continue after this.
Now, at a stage in life when peers half his age are slowing down, Sutherland seems to be speeding up. After shooting 1 week in Italy, we met him again on a soundstage in Los Angeles, where he was filming scenes for an upcoming science fiction movie. Next month, he has a new film coming out, The Leisure Seeker,
Let me make you a cup of coffee.
in which he plays an aging professor alongside Helen Mirren, who embarks on a road trip as he grapples with old age and dementia.
John? What's happening?
Where are we? He was maybe the nicest man I've ever played, who was losing his mind and totally and utterly in love with his wife.
It's very bittersweet about things slipping away, about love and aging. Did it resonate?
What do you think, Anderson? Just look at me. Sure, you know, all of it, every bit of it. Are we there yet?
Almost.
We won't know until January if Donald Sutherland will get an Oscar nomination for The Leisure Seeker. But last month, he finally got that little golden statue which has eluded him so long. A Lifetime Achievement Award, presented to him by his Hunger Games co-star Jennifer Lawrence in a special ceremony in Hollywood. His family, almost all of whom are in the film business, was there to cheer him on.
I finally found peace in the words of the great Benjamin Kulbelski, who is also known as Jack Benny, when he said, as I say to you now, I don't deserve this, but I have arthritis, and I don't deserve that either. Thank you.